When we arrived to Port-au-Prince, I had mixed emotions going on. I was entering a third world country, which I'd never experienced before, so it was sort of an unknown world to me. The feelings that I felt were anxiety, I felt excited, and I felt relieved to finally be there.
The dump truck ride was really hot and it was really rough and you didn't really have a seat and you kind of had to hang on to the person next to you so you wouldn't fall over. But looking back, and once we got finally to the campus, I was looking back on it and thinking that was kind of fun because you're with everybody and you're just all together and you're seeing this whole new place, and it was exciting.
The dump truck was definitely the hardest part, but I guess it also kind of made it the most memorable for me. It was pretty cool to see the whole country just going by like that, and that definitely made the first part of the trip for me pretty cool because you just get to see pretty much everything from the poorest parts of town to the big cool towns that are kind of up in the mountain areas, and get to really just see the whole range of the country. And I really found out that a couple layers of cement bags really could take a lot of the edge off the ride and made a pretty cush by the end of the week compared to the empty dump truck. But one time actually, or early on in the trip, I got blisters, but I calloused up pretty quickly after that, and it wasn't too bad.
When I think back on the dump truck ride, it's not really the physical challenges of that ride that come to mind first. It's, for me, the things that stick in my mind are just the little stands where people were selling anything and everything, just trying to make enough money to get by for that day. The hand-painted signs, the vehicles that were painted so brightly, it all just amazed me. But one thing that sticks out to me is how we would be driving and we would probably have what seemed like 15 or 20 miles of nothing, rock and sand and desert, and then we would come up on 6 or 7 little huts that were a village for what I assume was a family or just a small group, but these people had nothing in any one direction around them. It was just miles and miles of nothing, and then we would see a few kids just get so excited to see a truck coming and waving their hands, and I feel like they were hoping so badly we could give them something or throw something out to them. So that was a tough moment for me, but it really confirmed for me that I had made the right decision and that the timing was perfect for me going.
Of things forgotten, you unwind me until I'm totally undone. And with your arms
When we first arrived at the village, it was just for a short time so that the construction crew could discuss the plans for tomorrow's workday. A few kids began to appear and slowly approach as they were trying to read us. At that point, the language barrier seemed to be a significant obstacle. However, their curiosity about us would soon open the door to bridging the language and geographical gap to make us go from 2 completely different groups of people to a single family that loves one another, bound by the same God.
Everything that we had seen and experienced over the previous 8 hours really allowed us to appreciate the comforts of the Living Waters Ministry campus. When we arrived, we were all tired and hungry. A meal consisting of fish spaghetti and oatmeal had been prepared by a lady named Tion.
There was work to be done as soon as we arrived to Paradis the next morning. The majority of the trip would be used for construction on the new school foundation. Construction would begin when we arrived and continue through the day and into the late afternoon. The process consisted of digging trenches, cutting rebar and metal rods that are then bent into squares and rectangles, which are secured with metal wire, twisted tightly to form columns within the walls. The women of the village were hired on a daily basis to carry buckets of sand up the hill to the construction site. Cement bags were then carried up the long hill. And when the rebar structures were properly placed, the cement would be mixed with water and gravel to anchor the forms in place. Large boulders and rocks were gathered and then carried into the foundation to serve as filler that the concrete would then be poured onto.
Oh, it's how you want me.
You can see in Haiti, and I guess because I could see it a lot better because I was focusing on the school and I was kind of in that mindset, but you can kind of see the impact of education, and you can see how the people with education, you can just see a difference in how they're able to interact and where they are, and how much that's helped them along, and it's kind of a hope.
Commencer par le d'abord. Ok. Donc, effet là, son effet, c'est déjà un effet, on a dit positif.
It said there will be a positive impact to the school by moving from the church to another building, school building.
Parce que dans le temps, nous avons fonctionné dans un premier temps, c'était un bon petit caille-paille.
He said that at the beginning, when the school started, they were on the very tiny thatch roof building with the wall like this, and this is how we started.
Et ensuite, bon Dieu voyait serviteurs construire l'église, nous venons fonctionner difficilement
and then when God sent His children to build the church, so we moved from this thatch roof tiny building to the church.
Et bon Dieu continuait, le voyons beaucoup.
Comment ça était dans l'église?
Non, comment ça était dans l'église là, c'était mieux par rapport avec en dessous de Kaipara.
He said that inside of the church was better compared to the thatch roof tiny building where they were.
Et c'est pas 4 fois encore plus mieux lorsque l'école là séparée de l'église.
And it's going to be several times better when the school is going to move from this church, because the problem is the church, there is no separated room. So when the classes are walking, it's very noisy.
Parce que dans l'église la classe yo manqué séparé, donc toujours gagne une pénétration entre élèves avec.
And he said that because inside of the church is not separated, so it disturbs the children when someone has to move and do something, and when all the teachers are teaching together. So
avec nouvelle construction ça que nous allons gagner.
He said with this new building we're going to have,
ça va permettre Timonio apprendre plus mieux.
And he said that will allow the children to learn much more.
Parce que yon pas une classe capable perturber l'autre.
And he said that none of the classes will disturb another.
Okay. Should we jump right in with that?
Me?
The lights?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A school question.
Yes.
Go.
Yeah, go for it.
Could you have him explain at what age right now they have to go somewhere else?
It's not a matter of age, it's a matter of class.
How many kids have to leave now?
6. Yes, yeah. After 6th grade, they need to go to another school.
And how far away is that?
Mostly on Swoosh. Swoosh is the closest.
What distance is that?
About I would say about 3 miles away. Is that correct?
How long does it take them to get there?
How long it take? Walking. That it can take walking. It is about an hour walking.
So what about after they get to 6th grade and they're done with that? Does like 1/2 of the kids go to that school, or just like 1 out of 10?
Yeah.
A small amount.
Yes, this is a real tough. He said, if I had to say something, first of all, I will thank God. And secondly, I will greatly thank this group who came last year, sit with us and asking about what our needs. And we see now God lay on your heart the desire to help us, and He provide for you so you can build the school.
Ça va montrer que la communauté a bon Dieu qu'a fait changer à tout moment et Jean le lit. Par canal serviteur.
And this is a vivid sign to tell us that God wants to change the situation of this community.
Perfect. Merci.
When it wasn't feasible for the ladies to partake in the construction work, or it was in between jobs for the guys, every single person took advantage of the time we had there with the kids of the village. This time was by far the highlight of every single person's trip.
The thing that tugged on my heart the most was the kids. Every single one of them, every day, every second of every day we were there, they showed so much love towards us, and they never stopped. And even if they were like tired, or if they like wanted to sit down, they still wanted to be with you or hold your hand, and it was awesome.
The thing that tugged at my heart the most while in Haiti were the kids, which is the typical answer, but seeing them the first day sing all of their songs and welcome us with big arms, open arms, really opened my eyes to how happy they were, even when they had nothing. And we have so much here, and I feel like we go through our days and just get really upset over little things, and they're just happy just to be alive and to have dirt to play with and grass to play with, and they're just thankful for everything they have.
The people of Tea Paradis were amazing. What really surprised me was how trusting they were in us, and how much they loved us being there, and how much joy and praise they give to God even though they have nothing.
He is jealous for me. Love's like a hurricane. I am a tree bending beneath the weight of his wind and mercy. When all of a sudden
After it has all come to pass and we are back home safe and sound, it is difficult to put into words what we have been blessed to experience. We were aware that it was likely we would have changes take place in our perspective towards life, but we had no idea the magnitude. We went to a third world country hoping to show God's love to the people of this village. It turns out they already know Him and His love in ways that we, a culture who wants and needs for very little, lack. We found friends on this trip, children we want to invest our time, money, and energy into, because we know without a doubt they are on this earth to do great things. The teamwork and fellowship that took place during this trip is something that literally and figuratively moved mountains during those 10 days. We became brothers and sisters with the people of Tea Parody. We laughed, we cried. We found ourselves when we didn't even know we were lost. More than anything, we found a purpose for it all. It isn't to build a school. It isn't education or food or even water. It is being an instrument for God. The people of this village found God when a pastor came to help and decided to hold a worship service. From there, they poured everything into him, trusting without their next meal or drink guaranteed. We have the privilege to be the vessel for God's blessings to these people, and the lessons we take from them allow us to share his grace and mercy when we return. That is the purpose.